Everyone, this is your chess friend here, and today we'll be playing another game. I'll be again explaining what I'm going to be doing. So I'm white again, and I really like the 10-minute format from last episode. So I'm going to be playing e4. This is the opening move. I suggest he respond with a quick e5, which I like, and then just like in the first episode on this channel, I'll be playing knight f3. Oh, and he's responding with knight c6. So he's playing really fast, which you'll see that a lot online. People play really quickly, and that's usually, well, sometimes it can be to throw you off. So just make sure to keep it slow. Make sure you're thinking through every move, no matter if they're doing anything sneaky or not. So this is a little sneaky move, knight to f6 right away, which actually opens up a little bit of a tactic trick that can be exploited at these lower ratings. Now, I don't really recommend doing this at a higher rating, but at low ratings such as this, there's a tactic that you really need to watch out for. So I'll just be showing it here, but I don't recommend playing it because it's not good to try to trick your opponent with tactics. It's better to play strong chess, and if you can beat someone with a tactic, you can probably beat them with just strong play. But anyway, I'll just be showing it to you guys just so that you don't fall for it. So the tactic here was knight f6. If I had taken there and he had done something else, it would have given me a fork, which is where you attack two of the enemy's pieces with one piece. So this is a good way to stop it with d5, which is a good move. I like that. E takes d5 is the normal move. Ooh, and this is where he played not optimal. This isn't the move that's best. Best move would be to go I think the best move was something along the lines of, I don't remember the best move, but I know that this isn't exactly the best move because it allows knight takes f7, which is a very strong move. It allows you to have a very powerful attack later in the game. So the king takes, which is normal, and then the killer move queen to f3 with check is the main, well, not the main threat, but it's a good threat. Forces the king to go to e6 because I have two attackers on the knight and he only has one defender. So he missed the attack. He didn't play king to e6, which is incorrect. Every move is better than king to e6 in this position, especially this one because it simply loses a knight because I take here with check. I wouldn't have recommended that he played that. Obviously, I don't recommend he played that. Loses a knight. So this is, queen trades are good when you're up material. When I'm up material here, so I'm going to trade some queens off. And technically I'm not actually up, so I'm only up a pawn. But a pawn is still good material to the point where you can safely trade, I think, a pawn. A pawn is nice. We're going to take off his two bishop advantage. Well, not advantage, but we're going to make sure he doesn't get the two bishops. And we're going to continue our development. So another advantage we'll have during this game is that our king is going to be much safer than his throughout the game. Although actually, with a move like knight to d4, threatening to take the pawn and fork our pieces, I think king to d1 is the only proper way to deal with this without losing our one pawn advantage. So he played well. That's a good move. I'm glad he saw that. It'll make the game a bit more interesting. So from here, I think d3 is a good move. Just trying to get us the bishop out, probably to e3. Okay, rook to g8. That's an okay move. Not awful. I'm guessing he's hoping that I move to g3, to which he'll respond with knight to f3. Although actually, if I do play rook to g1, which is the alternative, he can still play knight to f3 because if I recapture, he'll be taking my rook with an x-ray. So I guess actually I'm going to have to give in a little bit and let him play his g3 move. So it's a bit upsetting, but it has to be done. So it has to be done. Which it's good. If you got caught up on something and you have to play a move without option, it's usually best to just play it and not be too disappointed about it. So we're going to go bishop to e3, helping us develop the bishop, putting it on a pretty strong diagonal here, and also attacking this knight, which, ooh, okay, it's an okay move, moving his bishop, trying to defend the knight, although I wasn't exactly planning on taking it, so not entirely necessary of a move, but it's not bad by any means. I think from here I can develop my knight a little bit stronger to this square. It's just important I'm double checking to see there aren't any squares that I'm missing that are crucial to my position currently. Although I think I actually have a different choice. I could go knight to e2. If he takes, I will be able to capture his bishop, giving me, letting me trade a bishop for a knight, which I think is a good idea, simply because knights are usually better than bishops. And if he moves somewhere else, I simply win a bishop. So I think this is a good move. So I think I'll be playing this. Just double checking quickly to make sure I didn't miss anything. I expect him to capture on e2. It's an okay move. Although, actually, yeah, it's an okay move. Doesn't lose. He can go back to d4 one move later. So, yeah, this is fine for him, for sure. I guess he's got a few other options. He could try to simply bring his king closer to the game. He could go f5, which is a nice move. h5. I wasn't quite counting on h5. I'll say that. Wasn't expecting it. It's an out of the box move. I was thinking maybe f4 with the idea of capturing and capturing, but that doesn't work because if we play a game of count the defenders, he has 2 defenders and I only have 2 attackers. So even if he takes back, it doesn't work. I think I'll be taking with the knight. Delivers a check on the king, and it leaves him open to decide whether or not we trade bishops. He can recapture with the pawn, gaining some space, but in the end, not very, not a super important move. So I think bishop f4 is fine, putting some pressure on that pawn, and it's good he took here too, because it gives me an open file to attack his king. I'm just going to quickly decide what I want on that file. Probably the h-rook. I think that's fine. I think it's fine to put an h-rook on this file. Although it's possible that it doesn't really do much. You can go d5, e5. He's got good squares for the king that, well, all of these squares aren't bad. So I don't think I'm going to be playing that just quite yet. Maybe a little later. It would probably be nice to develop the king, however. So I think, well, not develop, but king isn't very safe. It's in the center of the board, and if I could go to e2, then I could follow it up with f3, on which I think the king's pretty safe on f3, with the idea of going to g2. So this is quite a long plan, but it should hopefully work fine enough. And I'm not too worried about h4, because if he captures, I can always recapture with any of my pawns. So I think this is an okay plan. An okay plan for me. Rook to e8, fine move. He's just trying to, I'm guessing he's thinking that he's going to move his king with check, and I'll be upset. But it doesn't matter, because sure, he gets an open file, but I can easily contest it with my rooks to try to push him back. So actually, I think now that he's closed up the position with f5, trying to just, it was a big threat that his king would be advancing, trying to, I don't know, put some counterplay on me. I think it's fine to just go rook to e1 with a check and trade off a pair of rooks. Although trading off a pair of rooks does give him access to the open file. So I think I would rather keep the pressure and simply just deliver a check and then move something else, because new players, lower rated players, they really like to trade off pieces. Although I am getting quite low on time, so let's try not to have a repeat of the earlier game and just slowly start pushing our pawns up so that we can get a queen. Not exactly a queen yet, but not quite yet. We won't be getting a queen quite yet, but we'll be getting advance. Okay, so that's an okay pawn move. Allows me to move my bishop back though to a square where I'd rather have it be. b6 to defend the pawn. That's fine. I think, yeah. c3 is good. Actually, no, c3 is bad. We don't want that pawn to be moving off of that square. I think a4 is good. a4. We did have to spend 2 moves on something that could have just taken us 1. But on the bright side, it really delays his attacks, his strategy to get a queen, really. That's what it comes down to. So I think it's fine to do this. And he can't play b5 anyway, as we can capture this pawn. After he plays b5, we can just take. After he plays b5, we can take. That, yeah. We can take a pawn. So that's fine. We are kind of low on time though, so he's got that going for him. Bishop to d6, that's fine with me. At this point, I think bishop f4 is just fine. Kind of, not delaying him, but trying to trade bishops. Although it really doesn't matter. I think c3 is a better move. I think c3 is just better because it. This is a pretty curious position. I'm just gonna take a bit of time to think it all through. Might even be a time where it's trying to try to double the rooks, although that's not very good as he can take while I'm trying to double. I think c3 is fine, but b3 works too. So let's just think this through. I think c3 is really probably my best move. My doubled pawn, my extra pawn isn't very useful, however, in this position. So I think it might just be better to try and trade off both pairs of rooks. Actually, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to trade off all our rooks, because while I have this advantage, if we didn't have our rooks, it would be much easier for me to win this position. So I think that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. King is going to be moving up. I'm going to have to move my bishop back. I think my bishop coming here would be quite strong. Very strong, actually. Takes, and now I can take the f5 pawn. Now I can go to a few squares, actually. I've got a few options. I think king g5 is my best option, taking the h5 pawn without him being able to defend it. So now it's important to count how many squares you have until you can queen. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7 turns until I can queen. And then here it's important to think, do I want to delay him? Obviously we do want to delay him. But it might not actually be best to take. Let's think this through. If we take, he can take back. And then he's going to go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1. This is actually very good. That's called a crippled majority if he takes here. So he'd have to go here. Yeah, okay. So it's better to just capture, because if he captures here, he's got 2 doubled pawns. And if he moves either of them forward, I can capture, blocking both of them, which is really good for me. And if he tries to move this forward, I can capture, and then when this goes forward, I can capture, so I'll just be fine this whole time. And he definitely doesn't have as many moves as I do, where I can just easily waste them with h5s and such. Well, pushing the h-pawn. He's moving his king back, so I should also move mine back to make sure he can't get around me. Fine move by him, but it won't matter. He's pushing his king up. He's giving me the pawn. He's giving me the pawn. He's recapturing. And at this point, the game's decided. I'm just going to deliver a check. Make sure I take his last pawns so that he cannot win. And it's good to deliver some checks. So from here, I'll be showing you how to checkmate with a king and a queen. So move the king into the game, kind of into the game, yeah. And basically, you're just going to want to make your queen box off his king while also delivering checks. And you also are going to need to take his pawn. So you can't do it with a pawn on the board. Well, you can, but it's good to not let him have that extra opportunity. And I'm going to have to actually move quite quickly, so I might stop commentating here in a second. But basically, your goal is to just make a box, and then shrink the box, and then he moves, and you shrink the box, and then he moves, and you shrink the box. And at this point, when he's got one rank to go, you bring your king in. So from here, you can deliver the checkmate here. This was your chess friend. Thank you for watching. We played quite a nice game, I think. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions about this game or anything about chess in general, anything you want me to cover besides just normal games and analysis, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to this channel. I'll be posting more basically daily, maybe once every other day, sometimes more. Share the video with your friends and it really helps. Thank you for watching. Bye.